Hi, today we will learn how to name the musical intervals, how to name in the correct way all the kind of musical intervals. I'm sure that you remember that in the previous video lessons we have already talked about it, and we said that any kind of musical interval is made up of two different names, the general name and the specific name. So we need to use these different names to have a precise situation of our musical intervals. Why do we need to use two different names? Today we will understand it very well. But before we start talking about the second part of the name, the specific name, the second name, since in the previous lesson we already learned how to find the general name, please let me explain something, or better, let me answer to this question. So, why is it so important to to name correctly the musical interval? And this is almost for two reasons. The first one is about music theory. Because since music is made up of sounds, of combinations, of mixing of sounds, and it is made up of relationships between various sounds, it is essential that we have a very precise way to determine this kind of relationships, to be focused on them, and so naming the intervals, being able to give every musical interval the correct name allows us to be able to know in depth which kind of relationship do we have. So if we say, for example, this is a third interval, and this is a fifth interval on a second interval, just naming these intervals, we already know which kind of relationship do we have in this situation between the various sounds. So this is the first reason, and this is why we need to learn in depth this topic. The second one is that intervals are the base, we could say, that some basic concept to understand in depth all the world of harmony and chords, since every chord is made up is built by superposing harmonic intervals. And so if we will be able to name correctly every kind of interval, you will see that it will be very easy to understand in depth also some most complex chord, such as, for example, ninth chord or seventh chord or 11th chord, and so on. So to go into more complex chords, or even some jazzy chords, for example. So this is the second reason. These are the two main reasons why we have to be able in depth to name, to be able, to be very to do this very quickly. So this is the reason, and for this reason, today I'm going to give you a very easy and effective method. We can call it a bullet point method, to find very quickly and in a very easy way any kind of interval. So in the last lessons we already said how to find the first part of the name, the general name. Today we will approach the second part, so the specific name, and this method is about how to find the specific name of an interval, so minor, major, perfect. Usually it happens that people get confused. They don't understand very well why major or perfect, why it is so augmented or diminished, and so today we will go we will see this in depth, so that you can you will be able to do this with in a very precise way and in a very effective way, of course, and of course very quickly. So the last thing is, why do we need to know to use also the second part? I mean, the specific name. Why do we don't you? Why it is? I mean, do you have to use two different names? So the general name, so fifth, second, third, and so on, but also a specific name. It is for this reason. Maybe you remember. You remember it. You will remember it from the last lesson. But please let me remind you. For example, if I take F and C, these two notes are gives me a fifth interval. But if I take F and C sharp, I have again a fifth interval. So how can we distinguish these two intervals? If I don't use a second name, if I don't use also the specific name, if I only use the general name, these two intervals are exactly the same. And of course, you can listen to them. They sound very different. They are completely different. They are intervals. They are completely different intervals. So we need to introduce the second part, so the specific name, to distinguish, to make a very precise distinction between this kind of intervals. So and of course in the last part, so this is about theory, the method, this is about the method that I will give you in this lesson. And of course in the last part, in the last videos, we will practice with some examples, and these examples will be some models for you, so that you can try to practice on your own. And please remember, let me remind you that this is the right way to learn everything in depth. So practice a lot with different exercises, taking for example A, F, and F sharp, and so on, and try to do it on your own for some days, for some weeks, and you will see that this will be a very, very useful method for you to learn very well how to name musical intervals. So see you in the next video.